certainly a group effort, 6 shutout innings from you, but I just wanted to ask you about that pivotal moment with Alex Reyes in the 8th inning after the first 2 batters reach and he strikes out the side. From your perspective, how encouraging was that to see that moment for him, not just for him, but also for the team overall?
Yeah, and not just anybody. He struck out the heart of their lineup right there, too. Some really tough hitters. That was good to see him in that moment kind of flip the script and get back to the Alex that we know and love and have been enjoying watching pitch all year long. You know, he looked like himself out there competing.
Your competitor today, Rich Hill, called today AARP Day, fellow 40-year-old pitching today. But from someone like you who is still continuing to be effective at such a high level, do you have a respect for him and squaring off against him today as far as his longevity in this game as well?
Yeah, he's got a better fastball than me and potentially a better breaking ball too. So he's 41. Is he a full year older than me? When does he turn 42? Do we know?
Next March.
Next March.
He's
Yeah.
a full year older than you.
Yeah, he's impressive. You know, and he got started later. He's kind of figured it out in the last 7 or 8 years. It seemed like, because I remember him in our camp in 2009-ish, maybe 9 or 10. I remember him in our camp, and he was, I came up against him in the minor leagues too. We played against each other for a long, long time when he was with the Cubs. But I remember he was still trying to kind of figure it out, and then after he left us, he went to, I think, Boston, and then Oakland, and then, the rest is history. But he really has come on these last few years to be really good.
Bill Ledson?
Adam, good job today. I just wanted to know, the first inning you had the bases loaded, and then you were able to get McNeil out on 3 pitches. I'd like to know what was working to get McNeil, and how'd you get out of the jam?
Well, I like nostalgia, and I felt like, all the Mets fans wanted to see me in that bases loaded situation. I felt like they wanted to see me throw 2 curveballs and a changeup and, get them out. I just felt like that was what the Mets fans wanted to see, and so I gave the people what they wanted.
Thanks.
Yep.
Eric Gould?
I'm bummed that Adam beat me to the line. I was going to ask about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. To answer his question, he's a very tough hitter. He's a very, very tough hitter, and I don't know. I felt under control in that situation. The 2 guys before him are Alonso and Baez are both very, very dangerous, and I pitched them very careful, and I threw some really close pitches, and they just didn't offer, which is kind of not what I was expecting, honestly. And they did a good job. They worked a good at bat off me. But McNeil, I felt in control of that whole at bat for whatever reason. Sometimes it doesn't happen like that, but tonight I felt in control of it. But the people wanted it. The people wanted it. I could feel the Mets fans. They wanted to recall that moment, and they wanted to be back in that moment. I just know they did.
Adam, are you saying you felt 25 again?
Yeah, minus about 4 or 5 miles an hour, but yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? You said Rich Hill had maybe the better breaking ball of the 2. I mean, you guys are both curveball spinners and rather famous for them. Is that a guy that you've watched spin curveball? Did you guys talk curveball in spring training?
No, I mean, I think he's just, he's very different. Obviously, being from the left side, he's pitching. His curveball starts in the other dugout almost, and works back to the corner, and then sometimes they'll bring it into you. And it just is we do something similar, but he throws his fastball up in the zone a lot more than I do. He's got a lot more hop on his 4-seamer than I do. We pitch differently, but still kind of curveball artists.
Did it feel like a play? I mean, you've pitched a playoff game in Queens with everything at stake, with so much at stake for you guys. Did that have that feel here? No, not the full house, but
Yeah, a little
did it
bit.
have-
It did a little bit. I mean, all these games are just so important. It feels like a playoff game because we got to win all of them. I think, and we have to have that intent that we'll go out and win all these games. We can't have any slip ups the rest of the way. We've got to go out and play really good baseball down the stretch against a lot of very good teams. A lot of teams that are in the hunt or already in the playoffs that we're going to face. And so we got to bring our best every night. No doubt about it, just like a playoff series.
Last thing I want to ask you, then, I mean, you guys have whittled it down to a half game. Do you feel like that's closer than even that appears? I mean, do you feel like you're playing well enough to overtake that? And how important is just that notion of being within a game?
We just got to keep winning series. That's what we got to do. We got to keep winning series, and we're going to be in a good chance. We're going to be in good shape the last couple days. If I know us, though, we like to, whether we win 100 games or we win 90 games, we like to bring it down to the very last day of the season before we know anything. It's just how we roll.
Katie Wu?
Adam, a couple days ago, we talked to Mike Schultz about how the plan is for the team to configure the rotation and not honor the off day when it comes to you to maximize your starts for the team with so much on the line. How much do you relish that opportunity, and how much of a no-brainer was that for you?
A no-brainer to accept the challenge, but we have a lot of very accomplished pitchers, so I don't take that lightly, but I do feel real good about that. I mean, I got home and my wife Jenny was asking me when I was going to pitch, and I told her the rest of the way I'm on 5 days, and she looked at the calendar and she was like, "Wait, that's got to make you feel good, huh?" And I was like, "Yes, it does. A little bit, it does." It's a good feeling because it's a good feeling to be wanted and to be relied on. I mean, for a couple of years I wasn't, so it's good to be back.
Thanks.
Jeff Jones?
Adam, is it fair to characterize this start tonight as maybe a little more of a grind than some of the ones that you've had recently? And is that, especially in that spot in the fifth inning where you get the chance to take the at-bat, already in the top of the sixth, to go out to pitch the sixth, knowing maybe that you guys didn't have quite as much bullpen as you do on some other nights? What was that moment in the game like for you?
I mean, I still felt really good. That they worked some really tough at bats. I mean, took a lot of close pitches. They did a good job of working my count up earlier in that game, and it was hard to come back from that. But it's a good lineup. That's a good lineup over there. I know the numbers are tough in a couple areas for them, but that from top to bottom is a very good lineup with a lot of very, very dangerous batters. There is just a lot of hitters over there that can do some major damage. So you have to make pitches constantly. You can't give in for 1 second or they're going to hit a 3-run homer.
Jerry Beach?
Hey Adam, I'm sure you've asked this a lot back home, but for those of us, I'm in New York, those of us who haven't seen you this year, how satisfying has this run been for you these last few months where, like you say, you've been as effective as you've ever been at an age a lot of guys aren't doing this anymore. What's this meant to you the last few months in this season?
It's a good question, and it's something I'm trying not to think about, honestly. I don't want to pat myself on the back yet. We'll get done with whenever this season gets over with, and then I'll look back and be able to relish some things. But right now, we still got work to do, and I'm keeping my eye on the prize.
Bill, do you have another one for Adam?
Yes. I want to ask you, how bad did you feel about Junior Valentine, the first base umpire who got hit in the face?
Yeah, that was loud too. No one was expecting that. He was pretty far over there. I haven't seen that. I just was telling a story in there. I knocked an umpire out cold when I was in high school. From right field, I came up and threw a ball home, and I hit our umpire Homer right in the back of the head, and he got knocked out. But that was louder than anything I've heard an umpire be hit tonight. That I felt really bad for him, and what a stud to stay in the game, because his face was bleeding pretty good, and it centered him up. I mean, it absolutely centered him. You're kind of tracking the ball, and and then you see him go down, and you're hoping, oh, he's just got a shiner, and then you see all the blood, and oh man, okay, he got him good. But he stayed in the game, did a great job.
Jared, do you have another one, or you good?
Sorry, didn't drop. Apologize.
Okay.
I'm done.
All right, we'll finish with Adam. Thank you, and